Welcome back. You're watching the India Today Mood of the Nation poll. In this section of the broadcast, we will show you the performance report card of the Chief Minister. And Rajdeep, this is where all the Chief Ministers either get really happy or really unhappy, and then they start flooding social media and the messages.
Can I be a little, put a little canker in this? This is the one aspect of Yashwant's Mood of the Nation that I have serious problems.
Why?
Because, you know, most popular Chief Minister across India is often defined by visibility. If you're a visible Chief Minister, you become the most popular.
No, but that's true for all questions.
So I prefer his second one, which is most popular CM in your home state. Ultimately, a Chief Minister's popularity or functioning should be determined by the people in his or her home state.
No, why? You should see how people are perceived nationally. What's wrong with
I'll
it?
give you an example. Manohar Parrikar was the Chief Minister of Goa. At his peak was a very popular Chief Minister in Goa. One day he tells me, I see all your polls of India today. Always you are showing this Arvind Kejriwal as if he is the Aam Aadmi and he is more popular across India. Only because I am from a small state, therefore I don't register nationally. Your first thing of most popular Chief Minister effectively shows which of these Chief Ministers is a national figure. It doesn't mean that they are necessarily popular in their home state.
No, but we have both questions. This is a bogus argument, Rajdeep.
No.
You're asking both questions. It's not as if you ask only one. If you ask only one, it's misleading. If both are asked, how is it misleading? You have access to answers to both those questions.
Because I think the performance of a Chief Minister at the end of the day, this is my limited view, should be judged by the people of your home state, not by somebody in Kerala deciding whether Arvind Kejriwal is a good Chief Minister or whether MK Stalin is performing.
You are right and you are wrong. Both things at the same time. There is a small flaw in that argument, because Narendra Modi, before becoming the Prime Minister, was the Chief Minister, and he took that center stage just because as a Chief Minister his branding across India was taken to that kind of level where he was seen as that, okay, this guy is good and we can get him as a Prime Minister. Okay, so what I'm simply trying to say, you come from a smaller state, big state, doesn't matter, but yes, your argument is right as far as the numbers on the first question are concerned, not just because of the national branding, but also because of the sampling, Raj, that the bigger state Chief Minister tend to get more sample in the poll.
That's obvious.
Because of the population.
But that's data, that's obvious.
When a viewer is going to see top three Chief Ministers, it doesn't mean performance. It means popular.
Perception. Who's saying performance? It's about perception. Perception.
I would prefer, therefore, to look at performance rather than perception on this question.
Okay. This is why we give both the numbers, you know, so that we know who is popular.
Don't forget, just to add, you know, and I'll give you an example. Naveen Patnaik, consistently in all your polls, including January MOTN, he was seen as a very popular Chief Minister, number one. What happened in the elections in April, May?
No,
because you are misleading the audiences.
No, but because he polled more votes than the BJP. Your first past the post system might be different. Naveen Patnaik remained the most popular Chief Minister on the desk till the time he was.
Okay.
Simple.
So let's take you through both those responses, because as always, we don't just, if you run only one question, it's unfair. When you run both, in the interest of transparency, you're showing all that there is to show. So I'll show you first who's perceived as being the most popular Chief Minister pan-India, and then we'll see how they are assessed within their own states. So I'll start with the listing of top Chief Ministers on a pan-India basis. Here, Yogi Adityanath has a massive lead over all the other Chief Ministers. 33% of the respondents pick him, whereas the likes of Arvind Kejriwal have less than half his popularity at 14% national popularity recall. Mamata Banerjee comes in third at 9%, Stalin from Tamil Nadu comes in at 5%, Chandrababu Naidu makes an entry at 5%, which is interesting because he just got sworn in and has broken straight into the top 5. So big one there for Chandrababu Naidu from Andhra Pradesh. Now there are frankly two ways of interpreting this data. One is that Yogi Adityanath, on the back of the Lok Sabha election, has actually come down from 46 to 33. That's 13% down from the last MOTN, which was in February. Kejriwal has fallen from 20 to 14. So that's ever since he's been in jail, he's clearly lost some public sheen nationally. He's come down 6% from 20 to 14. Mamata Banerjee, on the back of a good performance in West Bengal, has gone up just marginally from 8 to 9. Stalin from 6 to 5, and Chandrababu Naidu, the big new entrant in the list of top 5. But if you just look at the stacking of Chief Ministers, it's very clear that by a long shot, Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, is Baba number one. He's Chief Minister number one in the country at this moment. Of that, there seems no doubt. So, Rajdeep, yes, there is the size effect. Undisputedly, Uttar Pradesh has 80 seats. But that's also reality. I mean, it's much tougher for the Chief Minister of Sikkim to become a pan-India player than it is for the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. That's just reality.
Because when you're going to now soon after show your second takeaway, most popular CM in home state, you're going to see the same Yogi Adityanath actually falling sharply. My worry is, in the age that we live, someone will take the graphic that you've just shown and say, look at Yogi Adityanath, his popularity has increased. When you show the second graphic about popularity in home state, he's declined. Which one will you show? Because
but both are true.
In my view, one is misleading.
You were very excited about the Rahul Gandhi numbers. Now this you are not excited about. The numbers are what they are. Rahul Gandhi going up from 11 to 22 got you really excited. Those numbers were the gospel.
Rajiv, if you do not show the second number, then your argument is right that this alone would be misleading.
Okay, fair enough.
So
but then let me
misleading.
just answer your question. I think it's very clear. Yogi Adityanath is seen, particularly among a large section of the core BJP voters, as a generation next leader. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt. In fact, there was a huge demand even in the 2024 elections for Yogi Adityanath to come and address rallies. Far more, after Narendra Modi, the highest demand for any leader, ask any MP, was for Yogi Adityanath to come. So he has clearly established himself even beyond UP as a leader that the BJP's flock in particular wants. He faces the same challenge, I think, that Rahul Gandhi will face. How do I attract the non-core BJP voters, something that Mr. Modi successfully did between 2012 and 14. Can Yogi Adityanath do that?
No, but there is very simple.
One more similarity to Rahul Gandhi's equation over here. You mentioned the numbers went up from January MOTN to now only because of the electoral success of the Congress, perceived electoral success of the Congress. I think the drop of Yogi's number also have to do with his perceived electoral debacle in Uttar Pradesh. You know, so it's also about the winnability factor. When you were sending 60 and 70 Lok Sabha members, you were seen as the kingmaker. When you come down to 30 or 32 seats, then the numbers start going down. Number one. Second important one is the entrance within few months of Chandrababu Naidu, which is a very critical one, because I think the perception of the development-based politics, there is still quite yearning for that among the masses, because Chandrababu Naidu was the poster boy of the development-based politics in India. And that kind of branding, paying him even after a gap of 5 years and returning to power, and he had his historic mandate. But what I'm simply trying to say, chief ministers, if they do a good developmental politics, like Naveen Babu for that matter, in the next one you will see, he reigned for almost like 8 years on number one positioning as far as the perception within the state is concerned. You will do good. And someday you should do a very good case, Rajdeep, comparing growth of Odisha under Naveen Patnaik.
But Yashwant Deshmukh, Yogi Adityanath is not just at the back of Hindutva, because he's also perception-wise is what I'm saying. When you go across the country, his perception is of being a key lawmaker. Now, whichever way you look at how he meets up, follows that. But the fact is, he's looked at somebody who's a very good lawmaker.
No, I think
go ahead.
just to explain,
Yes.
just one point I'll just make, just to explain the drop that is happening also there. I think in the first term that he had, he successfully pursued the hardline Hindutva and was seen, in fact, Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah was seen as slightly less, hardline as compared to the way Yogi did it. So he benefits from that. Second, law and order, he brings, a certain modicum of that into the state. A very difficult state. Let's not forget that Uttar Pradesh is the largest state. So there's a lot of marks for him on that. As he comes into the second term, the more important issue of economic development begins. Yeah. So while the image of him being the hardline Hindutva leader persists, and quite rightly, I mean, I disagree in the way Rajdeep argues in a different way, saying that a state leader has to also importantly now be seen as in the national stage. For competitive reasons, for international reasons, they're competing with everybody else. So it's good to have a state chief minister who's also image-wise nationally known. The final point on this is in terms of the contrast that you're seeing, and that's a very important point, which I think Rahul will show in the next chart, is that also is a great barometer. You not only have to be great outside, perception-wise, but within your state, if you don't, you're going to lose the election, because that's where it really matters. So you have to do both.
Sure.
You have to nationally as well as statewide.
I think this is where the Act 2 of Yogi should have started by now. It is already getting late. Act 2 means he needs to be seen in as a social justice masiha, again, because a lot of accusations were coming in that it was only Thakurwad that is happening. He needs to come out of that mold. Largely it is perception driven, but you need to be seen not just as a law and order person, because the low base effect was there. You've gained all the political brownie points that you could. But here onwards, if you do not have an Act 2, Act 3, the way Prime Minister Modi had when he was a chief minister, he quickly ensured that the law and order state affairs change in Gujarat, then he gets on to the developmental bandwagon, then also onto the nationalistic bandwagon, and thereafter onto an international. He did all of these acts while he was the chief minister. The problem with Yogi is that he doesn't have the team. He's too dependent on the bureaucrats there. He doesn't have the team around him to actually help him navigate from one act to the next act very quickly.
And he has to show an economic vision.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the next act is about the economic
bring
vision.
So order, but the economic vision, which
It has
is
to be a
attracting.
complete package.
But
Yeah,
let's
Exactly.
also,
So that is where he's
so
lacking.
while
and
we're
this is where he
spending
needs
so
to
much
capture the
time,
imagination.
Sanjay Jha, talking about who's leading the pack, let's also for a moment look at who's missing in the top 10. There is not a single Congress chief minister in the top 5. Siddaramaiah comes in at 7, and he's the only chief minister, and that too at 7 years, 2.7% popularity. So you've got a situation where the likes of Kejriwal, Mamata Banerjee, Stalin, Eknath Shinde and Chandrababu Naidu have far higher popularity pan-India than Siddaramaiah. So the Congress, this whole question of what's your model, okay, so you don't like what the BJP is doing, but aap kya karoge? That doesn't seem to be finding resonance nationally. You don't have any Congress chief minister in the top 5.
Well, Rahul, two short points. Number one, I agree with you that the Congress should actually work on making model states of governance, which addresses everything from economic, social, hiring people for jobs, education, health parameters, make a whole checklist on which people would really judge you, what you normally probably put up in an election manifesto. If the Congress really, I felt also should have, even in its earlier avatar, put down the Nyay in operation so that people could see what a Congress could do at the central level. Having said that, a little diversion, but that's critical, that under Mr. Modi's government, and this is not some kind of a lame duck excuse, cooperative federalism has been dealt a very lethal blow. And it's not just about, the political points. It's about how resource allocations are done, how tax, kind of collections are distributed, if at all, on time. Look at West Bengal. They had to beg for Manrega dues. Others like Karnataka suffered because even for distribution of food grains, the central government was putting hurdles on the way. So I think we have a fundamental fault line in terms of how Mr. Modi's double-engine Sarkar actually operates by putting pressure on non-BJP states while playing favorites with their own. And look at that one number, Rahul. That's a glaring number. The allocation of sports budgets to Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh compared to those states like Haryana and Punjab where you're winning all your medals. I mean, these things are far too brazen and we need to discuss them.
Okay, let's now come to the next question, which is about who is perceived as being popular amongst respondents in their own states. So you're comparing the relative popularity within their own states, not nationally. So here, it's the SKM's Prem Singh Tamang in Sikkim, who's actually come out on number 1, and very interestingly, his popularity has jumped up from 26% in the last poll to 56% now. So big jump up for Prem Singh Tamang of the SKM in Sikkim. Then there is Himanta Biswa Sarma, 49 to 51. That's good news for Himanta Da, because in his own state at least, while he didn't feature nationally, but in his own state, he's holding ground quite commendably and is at 51. Bhupender Patel in Gujarat was at 55% 2 polls ago. Now he's at 46. Mamata Banerjee's popularity within West Bengal, which is frankly what matters to her most, has actually gone up from 32% 2 polls ago to 46% now. And then there is the smiling Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu coming in at number 5. So he's entered the big boys club, the big chief ministers club, big boys and girls club, right in the first MOTN that's been done after being sworn in.
And Rahul, there is one rider over here that, I know on the West Bengal numbers, a lot of our audience are going to say, how is that possible? Look at West Bengal, what is happening now. But the polling was done before this unfortunate incident happened. Mamata Banerjee till that point of time was riding the success of her Lok Sabha performance in West Bengal. So if we do the same number now, I highly doubt as a pollster that these numbers are going to hold true for her, after these incidents in West Bengal.
The two chief ministers, I think, who we will have to look at closely because of what will happen over the next 12 to 18 months. One, Arvind Kejriwal. He's at the same level as Chandrababu Naidu. He's actually joined 5th at 44%.
Yeah.
And in the break, Preeti and I were looking at the factor, will Arvind Kejriwal be able to do a hat-trick or quadruple his 4th consecutive victory in 2025 February? And I think Arvind Kejriwal faces a huge challenge because while he is Neta number 1 in Delhi, the Congress party is also a party which is looking to revive itself in Delhi. How is that going to play? Will the Congress take enough votes from Arvind Kejriwal? How long will Arvind Kejriwal remain in jail? Today, the court has again deferred the hearing on his CBI, on his bail petition to September 5th.
So before we
Arvind
come to
Kejriwal
Delhi,
is one challenge, and I think the other one is Yogi Adityanath. And I think that to me is the real story in a way of your most popular chief ministers. Himanta Biswa Sarma, again riding hardline Hindutva, has emerged as the BJP sort of poster boy. What Yogi Adityanath was 5 years ago, Himanta Biswa Sarma is at the moment. But Yogi Adityanath coming down to 39% in Uttar Pradesh is a warning signal because we have elections there in a couple of years.
But you miss out something very important.
yes.
If you look at the list of the top 10 chief ministers in terms of popularity in their home states, there's not a single Congress chief minister there. There is no Siddaramaiah, there is no Revanth Reddy, there is no Sukhwinder Sukhu. In their own states, at this moment, they're not seen as being amongst the most popular.
I think there are two, you're right, and there are surprises there as well. Siddaramaiah actually won Karnataka in many ways on his own steam. I think Raj will know this better, that he was seen as a mass leader. But he's been buffeted by the usual intrigue within the Congress party, plus missteps that he has taken. The welfare schemes obviously have also not taken off as well as some people in the Congress would have hoped. So I think that's one problem. Revanth Reddy is more surprising. I would have thought that Revanth Reddy, smaller state, very, very proactive chief minister would be in your list. Him not being there is a bit of a surprise.
Revanth is getting a lot of pushback. I mean, his honeymoon ended up rather abruptly.
Yeah, but he's breaking. Every second week I hear of BRS members crossing over
easy.
and
Coaching is you by
so
now
he's
know that
strengthening
coaching
himself
isn't
within. So I would have thought he would reflect in the popularity stakes. Clearly, he's not reflecting. He's a
because
worrying
that did
signal.
not reflect even in the Lok Sabha elections.
I think,
I mean,
Sure.
let's be honest.
Yeah,
the
that's
way
what
the
I'm saying, that
BJP
his
scored in
story got
Telangana,
Good point.
it did not reflect in the... By the way, one more thing. Let's take... Just hold it for a moment and please take some time to appreciate the fact. And this, by the way, I must thank Raj because Raj and Kaushik, they were after my life that, nobody focuses on the Northeast the way we should focus. And we made it a point that rather than clubbing the entire Northeast like all the other media houses do, we made it a point we are gonna do the polling and rank the Chief Minister of Northeast and to see a Pema Khandu, a Sikkim Chief Minister and an Assam Chief Minister getting
And Tripura.
And Tripura. 4 out of the top 10 are coming from the Northeast. Please let that sink in. If you are doing good in your, and by the way, when you talked about Tripura, Tripura has created a sort of record of getting in one state. BJP has polled more than 70% votes in Lok Sabha elections.
Okay. Now,
So let's take a moment to appreciate these chief ministers because they are doing some awesome work in their own, maybe small northeastern states, but we have taken the pain to acknowledge
Rahul,
their
I
work
just
there.
wanted to
Sheila,
add-
but there's also the reality that in Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath has come down from 51% in the last poll to 39, a decline of 12 in UP in just the past half year.
It's a very interesting figures. I think very, very interesting thing about Yogi Adityanath is people don't understand that you can't think of Yogi Adityanath in Rahul's white t-shirt or Modi's kurta. He is all about his saffron or dress, and if he is losing it, some popular votes. I think it is because that has diffused saffron color and his upper class background, Thakur, being a Thakur, that identity is coming up. And also there is in UP visible about descent in OBC votes of BJP. And also Dalits. So I think that is all reflecting
Sheila, how do you say about this fact that probably, which is, we started probably getting amused by the fact that Yogi Adityanath might be more popular outside UP than in his own state. You know, when you talk about in the first question of All India, you know, who do you think is the most popular chief minister in India, best chief minister? Yogi Adityanath gets number 1, all right? But when you talk about in-state performance, he's not there in the top 10.
He's 9.
So, he's number 9. So the thing is it possible that BJP's fan base across India propels Yogi Adityanath's name as the most successful chief minister just because of his ideological positioning and the avatar that you are telling in the kind of clothes that he is in?
Because there is very little competition.
Secular people also like Yogi
Right.
because they think he
Yashwant
can
ji,
be checkmated
among the
against
other
Modi
BJP
and Shah.
chief ministers, there is very little competition. Therefore, the BJP support base across the country have a natural choice in him.
Exactly.
Whereas there is just no competition.
Exactly.
So this is why he
but
scores
at the
really
same
well.
time, why the numbers are going down has a direct link to the Lok Sabha
electoral
performance.
performance,
Because if you talk an average BJP supporter, you know, the kind when we ask them about the defeat and the thing, वो जो मुंह का स्वाद खराब हुआ ना, they blame it on UP. कि this election, everything went out of their calculation because of UP, and that's a fact. Because if you add those 30-35 seats to BJP tally, BJP is cross 272 on its own.
What we'll do now
is 325 and everything looks
show our viewers
nice.
what Uttar Pradesh could look like at this moment if it voted. So if we have that on our screen, remember in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024, the BJP had 33 seats. The Samajwadi Party in that election had 37, the Congress had 6, the RLD and the Apna Dal together had 3. Now, Yashwant Deshmukh and C Vote are projecting that the BJP's tally could go up marginally to 35, the Samajwadi Party could come down to 34, the Congress stays at 6. So there are two ways of looking at it. One is that the BJP's gained slightly, the SP's lost, but the more important thing is that 2024 was not an aberration. Even if you poll at this moment, Yashwant Deshmukh's data suggests that the trend is roughly the same, because 2 seats up, 2 seats down, anything can happen. But the trend is roughly the same. So anybody who imagines that just because of that momentum at that moment around the issue of caste, which is why the BJP crashed in the way it did, is not correct. Even now the poll, Yashwant is suggesting
Rahul, you are right, because you know the bipolarization of UP is getting acute by the day. BSP meltdown, it's now looking at inevitable right now at this point of time. The non-Jata votes of the BSP are kind of just gone ahead with this way or that way. This whatever marginal 1 or 2 seats up and down you are looking at, it is only the turnout factor, because UP the turnout dropped heavily, and when in the poll everybody says that I am going to go out and vote, in actually not everybody goes out and vote. So that's a turnout differential, that's what a slight in that way. But BSP equation in Uttar Pradesh is something which should bother the BJP the most.
Yeah.
Because if this bipolarization continues further, BJP is going to face a tough time at the hands of Akhilesh Yadav.
Yashwant
in
ji,
the
we
How
coming
will it
used to
impact the 10
discuss that
bypolls coming
BSP
up?
is the insurance policy for BJP in
Exactly.
Uttar Pradesh. Now that insurance policy goes belly up, then what happens? And there is very little that the BJP can sort of do arithmetically when the Dalits and the Jatas, especially among the Dalits, Jatas, Pasi, etc., go into the bandwagon of Samajwadi Party. Then arithmetic-wise itself, it becomes a very, very complex social equation that BJP will find it hard to overcome.
Because for a long time, the equation arithmetically was that BJP is not getting below 45% and SP is not crossing 40%. But this Lok Sabha election smashed that equation.
No, but
the question is whether
May I ask
Congress and
Rahul, what
Samajwadi
Rahul asked?
crossed 40%.
Let's pursue the question that Rahul asked, that this is not an aberration, right? This is not an event on an episode.
Yeah.
There is a trend line. And what is not clear in UP is why did they crash so much? And what is your, I mean, given the fact that you've now got your polls already done in 2014, 2024, and now here, what is it showing in terms of what were the main causes of the...
And may I also say, all pollsters should do a Mea Culpa on UP.
Again, neither Mia nor Kalpa. Rajdeep, listen to me.
You got your numbers badly wrong.
Rajdeep, neither Mia nor Kalpa.
What I feel is inability, including myself. I'm not a pollster, but the inability to introspect and speak with such confidence.
I will not allow you
Rajdeep,
to
do you
get ahead
believe
with
that
that.
some reporters got it
Rajdeep,
right?
I will not
Or
let you
you
get
be
ahead with
right?
that.
You know, it's not
Okay, let him speak.
Rajdeep,
Let him
no,
speak.
Rajdeep,
Let him
Suno,
speak.
very
No,
much
I think we
Acha,
should
let him
learn
speak.
humble.
Suno.
This
Suno.
inability to be humble is a
I
problem.
refuse to become a spokesperson of the polling industry, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, but we got it wrong.
No, I will refuse because I never said 400 par. On this show here, right
On
here,
Uttar Pradesh,
Rajdeep,
how many of us said
Rajdeep,
Samajwadi Party
I
Congress
said
would be ahead of
30,
BJP?
Rajdeep, I said 30. You can try to as much as you like. I refuse to become a spokesperson.
I will tell
No,
you.
let
I
him
will
speak.
never.
I
Let
will
him
never.
speak.
Rajdeep, don't take the debate in the wrong direction.
Let him speak.
Please, don't take it in the wrong direction. Yes. I said 45% for the NDA, BJP polled 45%. I said 39% for the Samajwadi Party and Congress scenario, and I said 14% for the BSP. BSP meltdown happened, they got to 9%. All right? So bipolarization of the UP happened.
We got the seats horribly wrong. Come on,
Rajdeep,
start accepting. This
Rajdeep,
inability to accept
Rajdeep,
is my problem. 5
Rajdeep,
months
that's
later.
your problem.
No,
not
it is.
my problem.
I have a problem with it.
Rajdeep, that's your problem.
No, because we talk with
Rajdeep,
such
that's your
confidence
problem.
based on these numbers.
Rajdeep, that's your problem.
Okay.
It's not my problem.
Okay.
Okay.
You're the pollster, it's not your
Yeah,
problem.
please come back.
Astonishing.
Now come back. Come back to this. Come back to this. You do the Mea Culpa.
I will. I have done it.
Because the day you asked me to the Mea Culpa, I told you, Rajdeep, I don't believe in the seats. My vote shares are intact. I got the 38% on this show. Everybody was saying BJP is crossing 40% vote. I said BJP is not crossing 38% vote.
Can
I
I
said that over here.
Okay.
So neither Mea nor Kalpa, again, time and again.
On this,
now,
time out.
Coming
This is not going to serve any
coming out
purpose.
to UP, the thing which Raj pointed out, problem for the BJP is the meltdown of the Bahujan Samaj Party. And Akhilesh Yadav doing the brilliant ticket distribution of giving tickets to non-Jatav Dalits. You know, best example is Ayodhya. Ayodhya is a general seat. And on a general seat, he gave a ticket to Pasi. Na Ayodhya na Kashi, chalega Pasi. That's the Nara which went into Ayodhya. Alright. So the thing is, BJP has to redo this entire thing on their end because, as Rajat mentioned, the insurance policy of the Bahujan Samaj Party has gone belly up.
Okay. Now
That's where the BJP is struck. If they can go ahead and actually make BSP a part of the NDA.
No, but let's get
They
back
do better job.
That's
Let's
a
do a better
No,
job.
one
This
minute.
is what
That's
we
what I'm trying to say.
You know,
This
it's
could
not
have
just
been
the insurance policy of the BSP. Let's be clear. Amit Shah from 2014 consciously was able to successfully work out social. You see, this is my problem. We look for, this is all after the event, we are trying to explain.
No,
the fact
no,
is,
Raj.
1 minute, 1 minute. Amit Shah, 2014, 2017, 2019. Look at his. He was able to successfully do social engineering of the BJP by widening its base. It has nothing to do with the BSP meltdown otherwise. Don't forget, BSP and SP tied up together in 2019 and yet the BJP was party number one. I believe there has been a shift both in the way Akhilesh Yadav has approached his politics and also the ground reality in Uttar
ground
Pradesh.
reality
There
is
were a
the
million,
The
Rahul, there were a
socialism
million.
between the Yadavs
Just a
and the
minute.
Dalits
Sir,
on the ground
sure.
was massive.
There
That
were-
schism he's
there
been
are a
able to
million
cover.
mutinies in Uttar Pradesh today. There are
And
mutinies
the
against Yogi.
narrative of the
There
Thakur
are,
politics
there are
in UP.
mutinies at different
Can
levels.
I-
Within the BJP, there are mutinies that are taking place between castes, a sense of Thakurwad, a sense of over-bureaucratization. DM हमारी बात नहीं सुनता है. The fact that Delhi decided all the seats for Uttar Pradesh led to resentment in certain parts. All of this needs to be understood. There are no simple solutions. कि
No,
BSP
fair enough,
melt
but
out
on
हो गया.
top of
इसलिए,
that-
So one
you know,
second,
Raju,
can I just say
5%
on the
swing, it's a
issue
massive
of
swing in
whether
Bahujana Samaj
polls
Party.
need to be believed or not, here's what I wish to say.
It did
You know,
all go to the
Rajdeep has an opinion, Rachingappa will have an opinion, Rajat Sethi will have an opinion. It's their own individual opinion. When you do a poll, whether it's 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 sample in that particular state, you get a more representative sample. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can pick the seats right. I think where people go wrong is when pollsters get their numbers right, they start being taken as Moses or Jesus.
Exactly.
This is it. You know, they'll show the way and it'll absolutely be correct. That's never really ever going to be the case because at some point in time probability will catch up. But if you just ask these people what they're saying, I'd much rather ask 30,000 people what they're saying and then pick up the trend. The trend there very clearly is that there is a shift in the numbers in Uttar Pradesh. The kind of dominance that the BJP had in Uttar Pradesh a few polls ago, it no longer has at this time. That data is very clear. Now, whether that leads to 33 seats, 37 seats, 38, that's a mug's game. That's always in polling going to be a mug's game. You can pick direction, you can pick momentum. There are restrictions to what polling can and cannot do. So let's not put our own biases ahead of the data. Let's put the data
We didn't
first.
pick the direction in UP. I have to say that. We didn't pick the
No, I'm
direction
sorry,
in UP.
some of us put
No,
it.
no,
May
no,
I also
sorry.
please
Madam,
comment?
Madam,
Madam,
Yeah.
this is not about point
As
scoring. I
reporters.
think it's time that there is a little bit of humility and introspection. Otherwise, we will carry on with it.
Humility and introspection for what? I'm sorry,
No,
you
no,
both
I'll
have had
come
such a
back
big fight.
first.
I'm allowed to also say I got the numbers right in UP.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to some states and show you the numbers from those states. So what I'll do is I'll spend more time on states where there's actually some change visible. So for example, if we take West Bengal, and the important caveat here is that the West Bengal data happened before the recent RG car episode and all the protests that have happened since. But according to this data, between the Lok Sabha elections and now, the TMC's seat share in West Bengal has actually gone up by 3. The BJP's seat share has come down by 4. But I think if you poll now, it could be different. It could well be
Exactly,
different.
and we promised the audience, because Rahul, you have just sent the questionnaire, we are going to poll on this particular unfortunate incident, not just nationally, but a particular sample within West Bengal as well. So in the next round of the political stock exchange, we'll bring you the data. But yes, you are right that this poll happened before this unfortunate incident happened, and today the numbers from West Bengal as well as the approval rating of Mamata Banerjee both might be in a
I
different.
want to come to Bihar now. 40 seats in Bihar in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024. The BJP had 12 seats. The Janata Dal United and the Lok Janshakti Party taken together had 17. Now the BJP's tally is projected to go up to 15. The JDU, LJP from 17 to 20. The RJD and the left coming down from 6 to 4. Why do you see that happen in your data? This is a 6 seat if you add the allies and the BJP taken together. The NDA up 6 seats from the Lok Sabha elections.
It's just the more turnout and the more polarization further. I mean, it's somehow the way the alliances have worked over there. All is not going well within the camp of RJD, it seems. There are problems within them. Tejasvi, by the way, still remains the most popular face within as a chief ministerial candidate within Bihar. But arithmetic of Bihar is altogether different.
I now want to do something very fascinating. What we've done is a cross-tabulation of the data on incumbency performance across the poll-bound states. So stay with me for a moment. I want to explain why this is consequential, and then I'll present the data to you. If I show you how the government of Haryana is perceived, by itself, what you can deduce from that is limited. But when I compare Haryana with Jharkhand or Maharashtra, then the data throws up a picture about whose chief minister is more popular or less popular, where is anti-incumbency more or less. So we'll do a cross-tabulation, and this will really show you kaun kitne pani mein in the assembly election bound states. So I'll take question number 1 in this cross-tab on, are you satisfied with the performance of the state government? And I've culled here data just for the states that are going to elections. So on the question of how satisfied or unsatisfied are you? Now, I want to start with not satisfied at all. That's important to me, because if somebody says he's not satisfied at all with a particular government, it means his chances of voting for that party are very low. If he's not satisfied at all, he's likely going to vote on the other side. So it gives you an indication of where anti-incumbency is highest. So if you look at this, in Maharashtra, anti-incumbency, I'd say, is about 33%. In Jharkhand, 37%. In Haryana, anti-incumbency is at its highest. 44% of the respondents saying they are not satisfied at all with the current Haryana government. That is problematic. See, what happens to the numbers in the middle? Satisfied to some extent means, okay, so it's kind of okay, but not very exciting. So I could ultimately end up voting for the government, or I could vote for the opposition. So those are the numbers in the middle. But basically what this data set shows is that the level of anger, Rajdeep, against the Haryana government of Nayab Saini is the highest. Interestingly also, the level of anger against Eknath Shinde's government in Maharashtra is lower than against Hemant Soren's government in Jharkhand. Eknath Shinde is happy. Oh, देखो, everybody writing me off. I'm not doing badly. Nayab Saini is saying, मैं तो अभी आया हूँ यार, मेरा खराब कर दिया.
The one person
मेरे को
who's
तो बैटिंग का
observed
मौका
the
ही
mood
नहीं
of the
मिला.
nation very closely are not just Eknath Shinde but his supporters. They've been tweeting away that he is now the Neta number 1 of Maharashtra.
Why is that happened?
Because you see, look, where did Eknath Shinde come from? 2 years ago, hardly anyone knew of Eknath Shinde, even within Maharashtra. He was not, even a pan-Maharashtra figure. Suddenly he emerges, and most people thought he will last 6 months, 12 months, chalegi, nahi chalegi. He's managed the government to the point where they are going into the election with him as the face.
Rajiv,
So I think let's give credit.
Glass half empty scenario. Just Rahul mentioned the confirmed non-voters who say they are disappointed. Okay. So if you look at this data with a confirmed voting scenario, look at it this way. Haryana has 44% people who are sure unlikely to vote for the BJP. On the extreme left, 27% are likely, confirmed. When you look at the confirmed pro-government votes, the minimum number are for the Maharashtra. I mean, I'm just saying that. No. So, confirmed non-pro-government votes are there in Haryana,
Sure.
but confirmed pro-government votes are minimum in Maharashtra.
No, but let's be honest. Shinde, Rahul has been in power for 2 years. On the other hand, there's been a BJP government in Haryana for 10 years.
10 years.
9.5 of which were with one leader, Manohar Lal Khattar, who eventually had to be brought to Delhi. Clear sign that anti-incumbency existed on the ground. So I think there's a recognition. I think what these numbers are showing is a recognition of what the BJP knows is happening on the ground. On the other hand, in Maharashtra, you had so much of churning taking place.
Yeah.
You've had 3 chief ministers in the space of 5 years. Shinde, in a way, is trying to project himself as the driver of these welfare schemes. He's benefited. That doesn't mean that the alliance will benefit. This is what I told some of Shinde's supporters who rang me up. I told you that we are in the race. I said it doesn't mean that. It means that you are certainly in the race. It doesn't mean you're going to win.
Don't write him off. Yeah, please.
Don't write him off.
What you say is because you have to focus less, I think, here on the politicians and more on the polity. The people of Maharashtra and the people of Haryana are diametrically different. And I'll give you an example. Rajdeep, yesterday you said that voters in my state, if you confirm Maharashtra is your home state, are transactional, right? Now the voters in my home state, it's only about 2 things. It's mooch and lut, which is respect and power. And the 2019 election, somewhere down the line, was a mandate which was against the BJP because the JJP was thought to be against the BJP and they came together. So, and we discussed in detail on what are the factors which come together against the BJP now. So it's a kind of a perfect storm. So that whole respect and that, power of this one particular community is very, very strong right
Let's
now.
extend that to the second question about how people perceive the chief ministers, the incumbent chief minister, and how is he perceived. This again will, if Eknath Shinde is watching, he'll be sending Rajdeep lots of sweets and dessert because he actually seems to have high approval rating. The number of people, the percentage of people saying they're very satisfied with Eknath Shinde is substantially higher than the percentage of people saying they're satisfied with Hemant Soren or with Nayab Saini in Haryana. 35% of the respondents in Maharashtra said they are very satisfied with Eknath Shinde. In Hemant Soren's case, it was 25. In Nayab Saini's case, it's a low 22. Let's now come on the other side. Not satisfied as well. Ye to pura negative vote hai. The guys were not going to vote for you. 40% say, nah, nahi dena bhai BJP ko. In the case of Maharashtra, only 28% are saying not satisfied at all. In the case of Jharkhand, 35% are saying they're not satisfied at all. The big confusion, the ambiguity, the ambivalence is in the case of the voters who are satisfied to some extent because as a certain percentage they can fall in either of those 2 corners. The 2 numbers in the extreme, not satisfied at all with Nayab Saini, 40%, and satisfied with Eknath Shinde, 35%. This Raj Chingappa is quite interesting. There are many, even in the BJP, nahi yaar, inse nahi ho pa raha, inke bandon ko to humne jita diya, ye apna wo trans. There was a lot of negative buzz around Eknath Shinde. The data suggests you can't write him off.
No, I'd like to ask Yashwin this question because we were doing the national mood of the nation poll, right? Which need not consolidate and, come into this kind of drilling down to the state level and actually get it correct. So when you take these numbers, what is the percentage of people you're actually polling? Because in the big poll that you're doing with us, it's phenomenal, right? In this, I'd be very curious to know what percentage of that is finally reflecting in this poll. Then you can comment on these numbers. Otherwise, you might have
no. These numbers are stable, Raj, because they are part of our tracker numbers.
All right.
Because we ask it every day. So the rollover sample for any state would never be less than 3,000 samples for getting, which is statistically robust to gauge on any given one day. So the thing is, these numbers, particularly that how satisfied are you with the performance of your MP, MLA, these always have a very, very robust and stable number. The thing with Maharashtra in particular is, I guess that Eknath Shinde is also lucky because of the fact that unlike other states, the opposition leadership is not really celebrated either. What I'm simply trying to say is that after the last assembly election, the way the mandates were insulted, that entire thikra of insulting the mandate is not only for a BJP and Eknath Shinde to share. It is also on other parties, those who broke the rank and file.
It's not good news for Devendra Fadnavis. If Eknath Shinde emerges in this fashion,
but that's been, the fact is there's a big buzz. There's a big buzz that Devendra Fadnavis could well come to Delhi as the next BJP president. There's a huge buzz about that at the moment because look, what's happened in Maharashtra is the politics of the state has been completely broken by what's happened over the last 5 years. You've broken parties, leaders, MLAs. 2 out of every 3 Maharashtra MLAs have been in more than one party over the last 15 years. I don't know any other state where this might have happened to this extent, a large state. So there's been so much of churning. Devendra Fadnavis from 2014 to 2019 became the first Chief Minister of Maharashtra in 40 years to have completed a full 5-year term. What did because of the sudden churning, he got caught on the wrong side of it. And he struggled to recover since. He's still been, many perceive him as the most able administrator. But today, the tag of breaking parties is associated with Devendra Fadnavis. Someone from Sharad Pawar's faction said something very interesting. He said for years, Sharad Pawar was seen as the ultimate chess master, breaking parties, switching sides. Now that tag has gone on to Devendra Fadnavis.
And that may not be the right thing, good thing for him.
And for the BJP, that is bad news because the one state where the BJP had become a party number one, I said this yesterday, is Maharashtra. For 10 years they won. Now the challenge is, can the BJP become party number one? Because if they cannot, then where we started off with Rahul Gandhi, that too will change. For Maharashtra,
oddly enough, being the party number one is something which they are going to be challenged by the Congress in Maharashtra. As I mentioned yesterday, BJP might become a party number one. As far as the vote share is concerned, it is very much possible that Congress might become a party number one when the seat share is concerned.
See, this is yesterday when we projected the numbers for Maharashtra, Lok Sabha numbers. There was not any differential, right? It was
almost at par.
It was almost status quo as it happened in June 2020.
Lok Sabha.
The Lok Sabha. Now you're seeing a variation of some kind. So that needs to be explained because you are also taking off from this. Right? So what is that thing? Second is, can we look at Eknath Shinde alone? Because as Rajdeep was also pointing out, Fadnavis is such a force. So is he being propelled? What you're getting, the popularity votes that you're getting is also propelled by the fact that you have an experienced administrator behind. If he is by himself, he may not have got that kind of thing. Is he also under the glow of Fadnavis?
Well, first of all, the Devendra Fadnavis numbers individually within Maharashtra as the chief ministerial candidate, that has taken a backseating. So obviously, Eknath Shinde is also getting a buoyancy because of the BJP support, because they see that, okay, isko to CM banaya hai, to banaya hai.
But there's one more trend that is visible, and I want to show that to our viewers. This is to do with the level of satisfaction or dissatisfaction with your local MLA. And this again is very interesting, because what it shows very remarkably is the level of dissatisfaction with the MLAs in Haryana is much more than in the other assembly-bound states. Whereas the level of satisfaction with your local MLA in Maharashtra somehow seems to be high. Now that is a bit baffling, but that's what the data says. 41% saying they're very satisfied with their local MLA. He's a good guy, he's done good work. 40% in Haryana saying they're not satisfied at all with their local MLA.
I'll give you an explanation, Rahul.
Your MLAs basically take care of people locally because they're strong on the ground. They can get Aam Aadmi ka work done.
You see,
And
just as I
that
gave
is-
you a
that is
figure,
agnostic party, agnostic by the
just
way.
as I gave you a figure of the number of MLAs who've switched sides in the last 15 years,
And kept on winning.
Maharashtra has one of the highest number of MLAs who get re-elected every. You have a number of 2 and 3 time MLAs. Why? Because I am the local Dada. You see, I am the Dada of a particular district or my constituency, and
Rajesh,
irrespective
this
That
of what
audience-
happens.
audience
This theory
might
got a beating in
misconstruct your
2019.
Dada term. You have to explain that because they might think of a Dada in a different rowdy manner. But Dada in Marathi is a different
Big brother.
perspective. It's the elder brother
No,
kind
no,
of thing.
what I mean is a
but yes,
benefactor.
you are right.
Benefactor.
The,
They are
the MLAs are more professional. I have seen that Maharashtra, and it is party agnostic observation. Across the party line, there are big number of MLAs who take care of the constituency in much more professional way.
But,
Much
Yashwant,
more
with
professional.
one-
way.
with one
Your
regret.
survey will now put BJP in trouble because Shinde will go with the paper and ask for more seats.
Absolutely.
And secondly, the impact will be because catchment area of Uddhav and Shinde is the same. So again,
I
on the
think
other side
BJP's
also,
problem
other
is
side
not
also,
Shinde. I think BJP's problem is not Shinde, and BJP's problem, where the original question of Raj was that I need to explain what is the shift that I am looking at. BJP's problem is their background of Marathwada and Vidarbha, where their stock is going down.
And
If
that
they
is where-
do not do enough over there,
that is-
then regardless of Shinde, regardless of Ajit
Shinde
Pawar,
is
and
Maratha.
everything,
See, yes,
Shinde
Raja.
is
no, no, no.
Maratha.
Yeah, just a minute.
Yes,
Yes, Raja.
personal
So
groundwork
Fadnavis,
in
over a period
Marathwada
of time,
and
he went much beyond his core caste of Brahmin. Brahmins account for 1 or 2% in Maharashtra, but he was seen as a pan-Maharashtra leader, and he was really charging up around 2019 when the peak was there for BJP and for Fadnavis. But thereafter, the Maratha reservation issue, the Maratha Kunbi, that entire fight for the same set of the pie happened. That playground was Marathwada.
You know, but
that playground Marathwada had a spillover effect
Sure,
even
but-
in areas like Buldhana, Wardha, etc.
But-
That entire Yavatmal, Washim. We were seeing areas where, say, an NCP Sharad Pawar had absolutely no foothold. They were getting into those areas, bringing in those fights to the foray, and were winning huge dividends
Yeah,
because
but
of that.
with-
Now,
with-
the credibility of Fadnavis took a hit primarily because that
Okay.
this pan-Maharashtra
So,
image got
wait,
broken
let's
and
ask-
shattered
with one
because of these
caveat.
zero-sum games.
With one caveat that no poll can actually capture what happens in terms of cash. What has happened in Maharashtra is something similar that's been happening in the southern states. When I said the word transactional, I was being kind. The staggering amounts that I heard only this morning after someone had seen the poll said, all very well, you all are doing these polls and who's on which side. Do you know the kind of monies that are there in Maharashtra politics at the moment, much like I thought at the moment were only in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana or Tamil Nadu. Karnataka and Maharashtra have become the latest states, Raj and my state, where cash matters. So you can put all the polls that you want. What you're going to see in the last mile is who has the cash. And I was staggered by one amount that I was told that one candidate spent in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. I know
There are,
that money.
but they
there
did
are
not
limits
win.
to
The
what
candidates
cash
that
can
you're
achieve.
mentioning,
No,
Raj,
this
People
but they
can
did not
take
win the election.
people can take the money. Lots of leaders who lost recently gave a lot of money
Yes,
and didn't win. So
exactly.
that doesn't matter.
No,
I want
it
to go
is a
across
factor.
to it is a factor, but it's not necessary. You can't. There's
It's
no
a factor.
there's no guarantee because you've
Of
paid
course there's
someone
no
some money
guarantee.
that he'll
Absolutely.
vote for you.
There's no guarantee.
Sanjay Jha, you're in Maharashtra. Explain Eknath Shinde's popularity. I mean, the data for the first time is showing Shinde doing quite well, and the level of happiness, satisfaction with local MLAs in Maharashtra also seems quite high.
Rahul, I'll tell you why I'm a little astonished by the data, because truly I don't think Eknath Shinde is seen as a pan-Maharashtra leader. In fact, even within the Shiv Sena, the original Shiv Sena before it got fragmented, he was seen as somebody having a strong pocket border in the outskirts of Mumbai. So I'm not able to quite fathom the popularity numbers that are being talked about. And please remember that this has to be looked at a relative context. Now, I can tell you in Maharashtra today, the buzz, and this is not just a metro buzz, it's across the state. Uddhav Thackeray's popularity is rising. It's not coming down at all. In fact, I find a lot of people who were, liberals today who want to support Uddhav Thackeray, in fact, for the chief minister's post. The Congress has definitely got its confidence back. And I think Mr. Sharad Pawar's NCP is basically being seen as many, especially after the Lok Sabha results, as the original NCP. So I think in Maharashtra, the whole
For
conversation.
the clarity so that audience doesn't get confused, what you are saying, Sanjay, what you are saying is merit. I will just support you with the numbers in that way because we are not doing a mood of the state right now. Otherwise, what you are saying is right. Mr. Uddhav Thackeray's number are more than Eknath Shinde's number when you are talking about the preferred chief ministerial candidate. These numbers are only the rating or the satisfaction with the chief minister's performance.
Okay.
So there is no comparison of Uddhav Thackeray's number and Eknath Shinde's number in these numbers.
We've had a
Just for the
fascinating
clarity.
hour of political punditry around these numbers.